Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reviewing One Piece chapter 1036, and honestly, it was a really good chapter. It was awesome. I'm kind of blanking on some of the stuff that happened in the last chapter. I think it was just the fight with Zoro, and we kind of been like jumping from one thing to the next, just to kind of clean up some of the fights that we've been doing. But this was awesome. We get a little bit of a flashback with like King and Kaido talking, and as he's like, this is after he's gotten like flattened by Zoro and like slashed, and he has his wing cut off. And we usually get some form of a flashback for characters that are about to die, or at least are getting defeated significantly. Actually, his flashback is kind of like juxtaposed with Zoro's flashback to when he got defeated by Mihawk the first time. And so you see like, oh, so basically you see like Kaido asking, "Oh, you think I'm Joy Boy?" And King is just like, "It doesn't matter. Legends are legends. I'm gonna follow you no matter what. You're going to be king of the pirates." And then we get to Zoro and his whole speech to Luffy after he got defeated by Mihawk and telling him that he won't ever be defeated. Flash forward to Zoro saying, "I guess I'll just be the king of king of hell." And I think that maybe his epithet gets updated because he's not been a pirate hunter in a very long time. So I think that maybe his epithet gets updated in some way. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Either way, he has definitively won his battle with King. Then we get some flashes to kind of like just cover like what's exactly still going on. We got the fight with Big Mom obviously still going on. Onigashima is still barreling towards the Flower Capital. The fire art thing is still headed towards the like weaponry and gunpowder deposit that's at the bottom of the island. Obviously, we have some stuff going on with that. We have a really cool shot of Momo and him being like, "I will not let you get there." And obviously Yamato's on her way to the bottom of the island to stop it. And so I didn't realize this, but Fuga, the the number that she had recruited, is like a centaur. Or like, I don't know if I would call him a centaur because he's not a horse. He's clearly got horns too. Although maybe a horse, maybe a ox. What would be a centaur but for like an ox? It's not like a minotaur because those only have 2 legs anyways. I don't know. Either way, I didn't realize that he had like 4 legs. So he rams into the number that's guarding the armory, and that's pretty cool. Actually, I kind of feel bad for I think it's Roki. He was just sleeping and he was just minding his own business, and then you have Fuga just ramming right into him. I kind of feel bad for him. From there, we jump to Usopp. And honestly, oh my god, Usopp does not get enough credit for what he does. It's him defending Kinemon and Kiku, and basically they're like, "Yo, just go on without us, or go take Kinemon, leave me, take Kiku, leave me," or whatever. So it's like the two of them basically being like their usual samurai sacrificial kind of stuff. And Usopp is just like, "I've had enough. If you guys want to die, then do it with respect and just kill yourselves right there using Harakiri. If not, you gotta freaking live." And he gives a great speech about how he's like, he always is running for his life, and usually with snot running out of his nose. But that is exactly why he's here right now, alive and able to do the things that he's able to do. So it's awesome. It is awesome whenever Usopp gets like, I love the thing about Usopp is that he is genuinely always afraid. He is always afraid, but he is probably the bravest out of all of the Straw Hats because he always puts himself in danger to save his friends or do what's right ultimately. Yes, he's got some like slide backs here and there where it's like, oh, like on Dressrosa when he ran away from what's her name? The little girl. Like obviously that's a little bit of a low point, but he ultimately returned. So that's the cool thing about Usopp is he always works through his fears, and I think that does him so like he kind of gets like a subtle character growth thing every time he has to fight somebody strong. He subtly gets a little bit more character growth because he's actively putting himself in harm's way, even though he's terrified. Meanwhile, Izo shows up, and Izo, I know that Usopp is going to run away with Kinemon and Kiku, but I would love to see a fight between where we're with Izo and Usopp fighting together against like the masses. I think because they're both marksmen in some way, right? So even if it's not sniping, Izo still uses guns. I think that would be awesome to see the two of them just like get each other's backs and fight. And we get an awesome shot of Izo taking off his like the top part of his kimono, and we finally see his back, and it's got obviously the Kozuki crest on it. He has a very nice moment with Kiku being like, yo, we'll see you later. Just go survive. And I love that. Something that I do want to point out is that Usopp, I think, uses a move called Skull Blast Grass. And at first I was confused because I thought it was Brook. But I think it was him. So maybe they've been kind of mixing their like skills and learning stuff from each other. I think that's kind of cool. We get a brief thing with Raizo and Fukurokuju, and basically they've gotten to a stalemate. They've frozen each other. They're using paralysis jutsus on each other, but then they're also being like surrounded by fire, and it's basically a game of chicken to see who will let go first. Obviously whoever lets go first is going to be the one to lose, but like they also have to worry about being set on fire. But I do like the line of I am a vassal of Lord Odin. You call this heat? I don't even feel it. From Raizo, obviously. And this is after Fukurokuju is basically like, listen, my paralysis will fade after you die, but you're gonna get the fire is closer to you, so you're probably gonna die before I do. And that was his response to that. I think that's super cool. I think it goes back to the boiling that Odin had to endure, and that was super duper hot. So it's like, obviously any fire, normal fire, I mean, this isn't really a normal fire, but any fire outside of that is probably like not mentally as hot or as destructive as the one that Odin had to deal with under him in the pot of oil. Meanwhile, oh my goodness, honestly, I thought this chapter would end with this, but I don't know. Oda's just stringing us along. We continue to see Orochi hanging out with Hiyori. He's calling her Komurasaki because he doesn't know any better. And it's like every time we get a shot of her face, it's just like clearly she's like the gears are turning and she's like, I'm gonna take out a sword and stab you in a minute. So it's like, I love it. I absolutely love the tension that Oda's building with that, because you know that she's gonna behead him at some point, and he's only got one head left. So it's like, clearly something's gonna go down with that. I look forward to the payoff of her finally taking revenge against Orochi, and I think it'll be super awesome. I don't know when it's gonna happen. We've had many moments at this point, but I love the tension that's going on with it. Then we jump to Apu, and one of the numbers running away because Cypher Pole 0 is there looking for Robin, and they're basically like, we're getting out of here. We don't care about this anymore. And the interesting part here is now all of the Tobiropo and all of the lead performers are down. So the Cypher Pole 0, Aegis 0 is kind of in a weird spot. They've been banking on Kaido and Big Mom's side, basically just to flatten ultimately the rebellion and the pirates that are helping them. That's not happening, so they're kind of starting to worry a little bit here. And there's a segment where it's like, oh, you're kind of getting a shot of like each battlefield that's currently still going on. Not everything. It's like, oh, Sanji getting taken care of, Beppo doing whatever Beppo's doing, Killer doing whatever he's doing, Zoro on the ground, and then Kid and Law versus Big Mom. And you basically get this whole thing about like they're in the like home stretch here, and it really does feel like this is the home stretch for Wano. I'm very surprised. Everybody thought it would be a 5-act play, and we're only in Act 3, so unless there's going to be something weird going on in Act 4 and it's like maybe like 2 chapters long, this might be it. Maybe we get an Act 4 and that's like the resolution, but like it doesn't feel like this is going to end anytime soon. It feels like if it was going to end, it would have ended in like the Act 3, I mean. It feels like if Act 3 was going to end, it would have ended way sooner. But this is just kind of nuts. So basically now, the world government's banking on a fire that is making its way towards an explosive reserve, or Kaido and Big Mom taking care of what they need to take care of, because otherwise they're done. That's it. And it's interesting because the Cypher Pole agent that's still like stuck in that like kind of like nice room where they were being pampered before is like a little more worried. Because obviously he's been like just listening to all this stuff go on and on. Meanwhile, the other two have been hunting down Robin and Brooke. So it's like he's talking like, oh, lead reformers are down, Toby Ropo are down. What is going on? And it seems like the other guy's a little more like suspect of like, well, don't you think that like they've like hit their limits? Don't you think? And then of course we end up with a page spread of Luffy fighting Kaido, because obviously Luffy is exemplary. I think Yami from Black Clover would be very proud because Luffy always surpasses his limits. So we end up with, so they're chit-chatting about like, oh, this is kind of going sideways for us even. And then we get Luffy using Gum Gum Rock Gun. I'm not 100% sure if we've seen that, but I'm not very good at memorizing names of attacks in this series. But he's basically going blow for blow with Kaido at this point. And Kaido and like obviously Luffy has a good time if he's having a really good fight no matter what. But Kaido is like, I'm having a good time too. This is awesome. The two of them seem like they're really, really into their stuff right now. And it just seems like this is the end game. This is it. This is going to be it. And there's no other major fights. I mean, you could argue Fukurokuju versus Raizo, but that's kind of like they're in a stalemate. At some point, they're both going to have to let go of their jutsus and just kind of do whatever. Everyone else is kind of in a frenzy, just fighting like lower level enemies or just crowds in general. Meanwhile, I guess you can make an argument for like Cypher Pole doing some stuff, but it seems like they're kind of just bouncing around looking for Robin, and they're not going to get Robin. We're not going to have another thing where Robin gets captured again. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I could be wrong. But really the last big fight, I mean, I guess Big Mom's still there. Okay. So here's what I would say. Kid and Killer are going to defeat Big Mom. I think that's how it goes. I actually had a little bit of a theory. Not a theory. I don't know if I would call it that, but like a little thought last night before reading this, obviously. And I think, so Kid and Killer are going to defeat Big Mom. And then Luffy obviously will probably, I think Luffy will defeat Kaido just as, okay, so here's the thought. I think that the clouds that Kaido put up will probably be gone before he officially gets defeated. They've already started disappearing. He's clearly losing his grip on him, and he clearly needs to put all of his focus on the fight with Luffy. I think by the time that happens, Momo will have completely replaced all of the clouds, and by the time Luffy defeats Kaido, the island will be placed very gently and gingerly on the ground outside of the flower capital. I think that's what's going to happen. Luffy's going to do whatever move he's got, maybe go into gear 5th, whatever it is, and smack down Kaido just as the island is gently landing on mainland Wano. I also had a little bit of a theory about how things will shake out post Wano war arc. I think Luffy officially becomes one of the emperors. Obviously, we still have Shanks and Blackbeard, but I think Luffy officially becomes one of the emperors. I think we go back down to 4. The question is, who replaces Big Mom then? And I think I would like to think it might be Law, because I love Law. Law's great. But I think Kid ultimately will be the one to put her down, even if it was like with the help of Law. So I think he will get the credit and the new title. So I think after the Wano arc as a whole, once we kind of let things settle a little bit, the new 4 emperors will be Luffy, Shanks, Blackbeard, and Kid. And I don't know if that's like crazy out there. I guess it could still be 5 emperors and you could just make Law an emperor, but I don't know if I see that. As much as I love Law. You could also just have Law be the emperor instead of Kid, but I think Kid fits the bill more. Law's a little bit more secretive. So I think he would probably want to be a little bit more low key. But yeah, this was an awesome chapter with some really great panels. Okay, so highlights for me specifically are Usopp giving his speech to Kinemon and Kiku. My God, the boy keeps growing. Obviously Izo showing up. That kind of goes hand in hand with Usopp. And then, Hiyori just like biding her time. She is great. I can't wait for her to finally get her revenge. It's going to be sweet. And then I think, honestly, the very end, obviously, is Luffy going toe-to-toe with Kaido. I can't wait to see their, like, actual real fight, because up until this point, their, like, one-on-one stuff has been kind of like, oh, it's a little bit here, and then they bounce away. Oh, it's a little bit here, and then they bounce away. Or it's like, or he's not fighting one-on-one, and it's just like, oh, it's everybody or whatever. So I'm really excited to see his one-on-one fight in full. I think that's going to be awesome. What did you guys think about this chapter though? Because I would give it maybe, I don't know about 10 out of 10, but like maybe a 9 out of 10, 9.5, because I thought it was great. It's fast paced. It has some really good moments, especially for some characters that like I don't think that necessarily get a lot of love. I'd love to see Brook get more love. I'm a little disappointed that he's not in it, given that I got tricked by the skull attack that Usopp, I think, used. So I would love to see more of him. But let me know what you guys thought about this chapter down below in the comment section, and leave a like if you enjoyed anything I had to say, or you just like this chapter in general. I will see you guys in another video. So long.